Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So it's 7:45, our time to start. So today, firstly, welcome dear devotees to all of you. And today we have the privilege of having Rupa Mataji read the Sanskrit and Shobhana Mataji read the English. You're both ready?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
So let me share my screen. But first, let me mute everyone. And you can unmute yourselves. And then we can make a start. From verse 28, is it?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. All right. The verses on the screen when you're ready. Rupa Mataji, maybe you can say the invocation and then you can commence reading the Sanskrit.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Sorry, Rupa Mataji, do you want to show your screen or share your screen so everyone can see you?
Okay.
And the same with Shobhana Mataji.
Can you see me? Because I'm reading from my laptop and.
Okay. If it's difficult, not a problem. I just thought it'd be a nice idea if we could, we can see the reciters.
Okay. It's chapter 11, verse 28. Yatha nadinam bahavombuvega samudram eva bhimukha dravanti tatha tavami naralokavira vishanti vaktrani abhijwalanti.
As the many waves of the rivers flow into the ocean, so do all these great warriors enter blazing into your mouths.
Verse 29. Yatha pradiptam jwalanam patanga vishanti nashaya samriddha vega tatheva nashaya vishanti lokas tavapi vaktrani samriddha vega.
I see all people rushing full speed into your mouths as the moths dash to destruction in a blazing fire.
Verse 30. Leliyase samantal lokan samagran vadane jwaladbhi tejo bhirapurya jagat samagram bhashastavugra pratapanti Vishnu.
O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouths, covering all the universe with your effulgence. You are manifest with terrible scorching rays.
Verse 31. Akhyahi meko bhavanugra rupo namostute devavara prasavantam adyam nahi prajnami tava pravritim.
O Lord of Lords, so fierce of form, please tell me who you are. I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious to me. You are the primal Lord. I want to know about you, for I do not know what your mission is.
Prabhuji, I can't see the screen. The verse 32.
It's there. You're still struggling to see it?
Is it? Yeah,
Your others can see
I'm
it?
seeing.
I can see it.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu.
we
Yes,
can.
yes,
Yes.
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, we
Yeah,
can
now I can see. I can see now, yeah. Verse 32. Sri Bhagavan Kalo asmi lokashaya kripravriddho lokan samhirtam iha pravritta ritepi tvam na bhavishyanti sarve yeva sthita pratyanikshu yodhya.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas. All the soldiers here on both sides will be slain."
Verse 33. Tasmat tvamuttishta yasho labhasva jitva shatrun bhungsva rajyam samriddham mayeva tani hata purvameva nimittamatram bhavasavyasachin.
Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Savyasachi, can be but an instrument in this fight.
Verse 34. Dronam cha bhishmam cha jayadratham cha karnam tathayan apyodhaviran maya hatam stvam jahima vyatishta yudhvasya jeta sirane sapatnan.
Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, and the other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. Therefore, kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight, and you will vanquish your enemies in battle.
Verse 35. Sanjay uvacha eta shrutva vachanam keshavasya kritanjalirvepamana kiriti namaskritva bhuya eva krishnam sagadgadam bhita bhita pranamya.
Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, "O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trembling Arjuna offered obeisances with folded hands again and again. He fearfully spoke to Lord Krishna in a faltering voice as follows.
Verse 36. Arjuna uvacha sthane rishikesha tava prakritya jagat prahishtasi anurjayate cha rakshasmi bhitani disho dravanti sarve namasyanti cha siddha sangha.
Arjuna said, O master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everybody becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done.
Verse 37. Kasmascha tena namiran mahatman.
Sorry.
Atman Gariyashe Brahmano api adikatre Ananta Devesha Jagannivasa Tam Aksharam Sad Asatat Param Yat.
O Great One, greater even than Brahma, you are the original creator. Why then should they not offer the respectful obeisances unto you, O limitless one, God of gods, refuge of the universe? You are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this material manifestation.
Verse 38. Tvam adideva purusha puranas Tvam asya vishwasya paramam nidhanam Vetassi vedyam cha parama cha dhama Tvaya tatam vishwamananta rupa.
You are the original personality of Godhead, the oldest, the ultimate sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You are the knower of everything, and you are all that is knowable. You are the supreme refuge above the material modes, O limitless form. This whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you.
Verse 39. Vayuryamo agnirvaruna shashanka prajapatistvam prapitamahascha namo namaste stu sahasrakritva punascha bhuyopi namo namaste.
You are air, and you are the supreme controller. You are fire, you are water, and you are the moon. You are Brahma, the first living creature, and you are the great grandfather. I dare offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times, and again, and yet again.
Verse 40. Nama purushtad atha prishtataste namostute sarvata eva sarva ananta viryamita vikramastvam sarvam sampnoshi tatosi sarva.
Obeisances to you from the front, from behind, and from all sides. O unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all pervading, and thus you are everything.
Verse 41 to 42. Sakheti matva prasabham yadyuktam He Krishna He Yadava He Sakheti Ajanta Mahimanam Tavedam Maya Pramaddat Pranayena Vapi Yacha Vashritam Asatkrito Viharasayashana Bhojaneshu Eko Tatavapi Achyutat Samaksham Tatshamaye Tvam Aham Aprameyam.
Thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, not knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. O infallible one, please excuse me for all those offenses.
Verse 43. Pita Tvam Asya Pujyascha Guru.
We've lost audio contact with you, Rupa Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Sorry, it just got disconnected.
Okay.
Okay. His verse 43. Shall I
43.
repeat the verse
Yes,
43?
repeat 43, yes.
Yeah, thank you. Pita Shilokasya Characharasya Tvam Asya Pujyascha Gurur Gariyan Na Tvat Samo Asti Abhyadika Kutonyo Lokatrayepi Apratima Prabhava.
You are the father of this complete cosmic manifestation of the moving and the non-moving. You are its worshipable chief, the supreme spiritual master. No one is equal to you, nor can anyone be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within the three worlds, O Lord of immeasurable power?
Verse 44. तस्मात् प्रणम्य प्रणिध्य कायं प्रसादये त्वम् अहम् ईशमिद्यं पितेव पुत्रस्य सखेव सख्यु प्रिया प्रिया हर्षिदेवा सोढुम्.
You are the Supreme Lord, to be worshipped by every living being. Thus, I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask your mercy. As a father tolerates the impudence of his son, or a friend tolerates the impertinence of a friend, or a wife tolerates the familiarity of her partner, please tolerate the wrongs I may have done. I may have done you.
Verse 45. अदृष्टपूर्वं हृषितोऽस्मि दृष्ट्वा भयेन च प्रव्यथितं मनो मे तदेव मे दर्शयादेव रूपं प्रसीद देवेश जगन्निवास.
After seeing this universal form, which I have never seen before, I'm gladdened. But at the same time, my mind is disturbed with fear. Therefore, please bestow your grace upon me and reveal again your form as the personality of Godhead, O Lord of Lords, O abode of the universe.
Verse 46. किरीटिनां गदीनां चक्रहस्तम् इच्छामि त्वं द्रष्टुम् अहं तथैव तन्नैव रूपेण चतुर्भुजेन सहस्रबाहो भव विश्वमूर्ते.
O universal form, O thousand-armed Lord, I wish to see you in your four-armed form, with helmeted head and with club, will, conch, and lotus flower in your hands. I long to see you in that form.
Verse 47. Shri Bhagavan Maya prasannena tavarjunadam rupam paramam darshitam atma yogat tejomayam vishwamanantam adhyam yanme twadanyena nadrishta purvam.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, happily have I shown you by my internal potency, this supreme universal form within the material world. No one before you has ever seen this primal form, unlimited and full of glaring effulgence.
Verse 48. Na veda yagnadha annirna danir na cha kriyabhir na tapobhirugre evam rupa sakhya aham triloke drashtum twadanyena kuru pravira.
O best of the Kuru warriors, no one before you has ever seen this universal form of mine. For neither by studying the Vedas, nor by performing sacrifices, nor by charity, nor by pious activities, nor by severe penances can I be seen in this form in the material world.
Verse 49. Mate vyatha macha vimudha bhavo दृष्ट्वा रूपं घोरं मिद्रिन्ममेदं व्यापेतभिप्रीतमना पुनस्त्वं तदेव रूपम् इदं प्रापश्य.
You have been perturbed and bewildered by seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished. My devotee, be free again from all disturbances. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire.
Verse 50. Sanjay Uvacha Iti Arjunam तथोक्त्वा स्वकं रूपं
If we lost connection with you again, Rupa Mataji. Are you back online?
sorry, my connection is not.
Maybe switch your video off. Maybe that's giving you less bandwidth.
Okay, thank you. Okay, verse 50. Sanjay Uvacha Iti Arjunam Vasudevastatoktva Swakam Rupam Drashyam Ashabhuya Aswasyam Asha Chabhitam Enam Bhutva Punah Saumya Vapur Mahatma.
Sanjay said to Dhritarashtra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, having spoken thus to Arjuna, displayed his real four-armed form, and at last showed his two-armed form, thus encouraging the fearful Arjuna.
Verse 51. Arjuna Uvacha Vrishtivedam Manusham Rupam Tava Saumyam Janardana Idanim Ashmi Samvritta Sacheta Prakritim Gata.
When Arjuna thus saw Krishna in his original form, he said, O Janardana, seeing this human-like form, so very beautiful, I am now composed in mind, and I am restored to my original nature.
Verse 52. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Sudurdarsham Idam Rupam Drishtvan Asiyan Mana Deva Api Yasya Rupasya Nityam Darshana Kangshina.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, this form of mine you're now seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form, which is so dear.
Verse 53. Naham Veder na tapasha na dane na chejaya sakhya evam vido drashtum drishtavanasi mam yatha.
The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by this means that one can see me as I am.
Verse 54. Bhaktya tva ananya sakhya aham evam vidorjuna jnatum drishtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantapa.
My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding.
Verse 55. Mat karma krin mat paramu mad bhakta sangavarjita nirvaira sarva bhuteshu yasa mam eti pandava.
My dear Arjuna, he who engages in my pure devotional service, free from the contamination of fruitive activities and mental speculation, he who works for me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life, and who is friendly to every living being, he certainly comes to me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Rupa Mataji and Shobhana Mataji. That was very, very nice recitation. The Sanskrit was done very nicely, and the English also was very,
Thank you. Hare
very
Krishna.
suiting to the consciousness. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll now share my screen. Hare Krishna. So today we'll continue reading chapter 11. For those who are joining us for the first time for this chapter a day Bhagavad Gita, a warm welcome to you. My name is Vrindavan Chandra Das, and I'm one of the facilitators for this daily program of reading Bhagavad Gita. And now we are currently on the 11th chapter. We read the second part of the chapter, and now we will read one verse in more detail. But before we do that, we'll recite the Mangala Charanam prayers to invoke auspiciousness for all of us. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Malitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharini. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadeshatharini. Hare Krishna. So today we are arrived at text number 40. And these are the series of verses where Arjuna is offering his prayers to the Lord, having witnessed the Virat Rupa, the universal form. Nama Purushtad Ataprishtaste Namostate Sarvata Eva Sarva Ananta Virya Mitavikramastvam Sarvam Samopnish Samapnoshitatosti Sarvaha. Obeisances to you from the front, from behind, and from all sides. O unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all-pervading, and thus you are everything. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Out of loving ecstasy for Krishna, his friend, Arjuna is offering his respects from all sides. He is accepting that he is the master of all potencies and all prowess, and far superior to all the great warriors assembled on the battlefield. It is said in the Vishnu Purana 1969, Yoyam tava gato deva samibham devata ganaha satvam eva jagat shrashta yataha sarva gato bhavan. Whoever comes before you, even he be a demigod, is created by you, O Supreme Personality of Godhead. So again, this is a very beautiful prayer being expressed by Arjuna. And there are so many interesting facets of this prayer that reveals Arjuna's inner consciousness. This is what we try to, one aspect we try to do when we study or read the Bhagavad Gita. In every verse, there is deep meaning. And in that deep meaning is some very profound sentiments or bhavas. The Shastras or the scriptures really touch our hearts when we are able to connect with the bhavas or the feelings being expressed. And those feelings are coming out in the form of words. So the words are actually the external representation of the inner feelings. So when we see these words, although we may not know the Sanskrit or the Devanagari, Srila Prabhupada has wonderfully presented Bhagavad Gita and giving us the word for word. And if we study the word for word, and we do this with the meditation, then there are some wonderful meanings and inner feelings of the speaker, both Arjuna and the Lord, that we can connect with, which is really, really very, very enlivening, very fulfilling to read. So we'll try to explore some of Arjuna's words in this purport. So one word he uses, which Srila Prabhupada translates, Arjuna says, Sarva. You are everything. So Arjuna, by witnessing the Virat Rupa form of the Lord, he has come to a very deep realization that Krishna is Sarva, that Krishna is everything. And when one can come to this realization that Krishna is everything, it is a wonderful, wonderful realization to have. And it can give a completely new perspective to everything we witness, everything we do. So Arjuna has got this realization that Krishna is everything. In one verse, number 10 of the 10th canto, one verse 33 of the 10th chapter of the 10th canto, Srila Prabhupada writes very wonderfully. He translates the verse. And the translation of this verse is, O Lord, whose glories are covered by your own energy, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are Sankarshan, the origin of creation. And you are Vasudev, the origin of the Chatur Vyuha. Because you are everything, and are therefore the Supreme Brahman, we simply offer our respectful obeisances unto you. And the purport, Srila Prabhupada's right. Instead of trying to understand Krishna in detail, it is better to offer our respectful obeisances unto him. For he is the origin of everything, and he is everything. Because we are covered by the material modes of nature, he is very difficult for us to understand unless he reveals himself to us. Therefore, it is better for us to acknowledge that he is everything and offer obeisances unto his lotus feet. So Srila Prabhupada is saying something very wonderful, and we are seeing in these words of Arjuna this very fact manifesting. And Prabhupada is saying it's very difficult for us who are conditioned by the material modes of nature to understand Krishna. But we can understand Krishna if he reveals himself to us. So Prabhupada says here, instead of trying to speculate and through our own endeavors understand Krishna, rather just offer your obeisances to Krishna, and then Krishna being pleased with our submission, seeing our submission in the form of obeisances, Krishna can reveal himself. So I'm just gonna, okay, someone's annotated the screen, but so Prabhupada is saying, yeah, you just offer your obeisances because Krishna is everything. Prabhupada also writes in one purport to the 4th canto, 30th chapter, 20th verse. Whatever is attractive within this cosmic manifestation is due to Krishna. Krishna is therefore the reservoir of all pleasure. The active principle of everything is Krishna, and highly elevated transcendentalists see everything in connection with him. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is stated that a Maha Bhagavata, or highly advanced devotee, sees Krishna as the active principle in all movable and immovable living entities. Therefore, he sees everything within the cosmic manifestation in relation to Krishna. For the fortunate person who has taken shelter of Krishna as everything, liberation is already there. He is no longer in the material world. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Whoever is engaged in devotional service of Krishna is already on the Brahma Bhuta, or spiritual platform. So we should pray for this understanding, where we can see that Krishna is everything. And knowing Krishna is everything, meaning we can see Krishna everywhere. And this is the consciousness of the Mahabhagavats, the highly advanced devotees. They are able to see Krishna as everywhere, and Krishna being everything. So Arjuna is expressing the sentiment here. And this is something we should pray and wish for. And it will come with our advancement as we move through the various stages of Krishna consciousness, from Kanishta Adhikari to Madhyama Adhikari to Uttama Adhikari. The more and more in our daily life we will be able to see Krishna in everything. But we have to be serious in our spiritual life. The other day I was reading something very beautiful. His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada, he examined the 10th canto. And in the 10th canto, through the various verses, he extracted how Krishna is everything. And there is wonderful, so many descriptions. It'll be a bit time consuming, but when I share the slides to you all, you will see that how Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has expressed how in the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, Krishna is expressed as everything. So there's 1 list, 2 lists, 3 lists, 4 lists, 5 lists, 6 lists, 7 lists, 8 lists. And I'll just read 1 or 2. Krishna is the womb of the scriptures. Krishna is Sri Guru's own self. Krishna is devoid of anchoring for wife, offspring, etc. Krishna is the ordainer of the worldly surgeon and of the summum bonum. Krishna is the friend of the good. Krishna is devoid of discrimination as of kingship. Krishna is existence. Krishna possesses true desires. Krishna is the true entity. Krishna is true of speech. Krishna is true of resolve. Krishna sees with an equal eye. Krishna is the cause of all causes. Krishna is the originator. Krishna is the soul's own self of all jivas. Krishna is omniscient. Krishna is all-seeing. Krishna is the embodiment of the gods. Krishna is the seer of all. Krishna is the Lord of all. Krishna is the Ashraya of all living entity. Krishna is all-pervasive and eternal. Krishna is the soul of all elements. Krishna is the knower of the minds. Krishna is the witness and seer of self. And so on. He's written, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has written directly, in brackets are the references to each of the verses. How Krishna is everything. And that's really beautiful to witness. And then we'll move on. Another word, significant word in the prayer of Arjuna, he uses the word Ananta Virya, unlimited potency. Krishna has unlimited potencies. And his primary potency is internal, external, and marginal. This morning, Govinda Prabhu, one of our lovely devotees, he sent this quotation from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna has immense potencies which are divided into 3. What is that? Ichcha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti. Ichcha Shakti means his potency. Whatever he wishes, that can be done. Kriya Shakti, then activity. Whatever he wishes to happen and to do, that is done. And Jnana Shakti, knowledge. In the Vedic literature it is said, Parasya Shakti Vividaiva Suryate Swabhavaika Jnana Bhala Kriyacha. Swabhavika Jnana Bhala Kriyacha. Just like one potency is working, producing flowers. We are seeing that a flower is being produced automatically. So nicely scented, so nicely colored. But because we are fools, therefore we think it is being produced automatically. No, it is being produced by Kriya Shakti, by the active potency of God. Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and then there's such perfect knowledge that nobody can see any defect. Like Bhagavad Gita, that's Krishna's Jnana Shakti, perfect knowledge. And then you see a butterfly, how nicely it is painted. You just see duplicate in both the wings. Just like an artist paint nicely, it is painted. So we think it is coming out of nothing. This is our foolishness. Yeah, it is. That is coming out of the Jnana Shakti. So Krishna has unlimited potencies. And some of those potencies Arjuna had witnessed in this form of the Lord. And then we come to something very interesting. It is said there in the purport, out of loving ecstasy for Krishna, his friend Arjuna is offering respects from all sides. Now, yeah, maybe I'll just deal with that first, from all sides. Now, one may ask the question, why would Arjuna want to offer obeisances from behind? All sides means from the front, from the right side, from the left side, and from behind side. Now, we never offer obeisances behind someone. But here Arjuna is saying, I offer obeisances from all sides, including behind. So how can we understand Arjuna's statement? We can understand it at least from one statement Srila Prabhupada made in the Krishna book. Prabhupada writes, in the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the body of the Lord is all spiritual. There is no difference between the Lord's body and his self. Every limb of his body can perform the actions of all the others. The Lord can see with his hands, he can hear with his eyes, he can accept offerings with his legs, and he can create with his mouth. Krishna is not like us. We have limited senses. We cannot see what's happening behind us. And we are limited to just the limitations of the senses, but Krishna is not like that. Krishna can witness from all angles. So Arjuna is offering his obeisances from all sides. That is wonderful. And Krishna is able to accept that. Then there's another interesting aspect of the verse, and I'm wondering whether I should explore it with these 2 minutes to go. Anyway, let's just see how we go. Now, Prabhupada writes in the purport, out of loving ecstasy for Krishna, his friend, Arjuna is offering his respects from all sides. So an interesting question arises. And as we've seen in text number 49, Krishna is telling Arjuna, you have been perturbed and bewildered by seeing this form. Now you become free of all disturbances. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire. So one may ask, how is it that Arjuna is experiencing loving ecstasy by seeing the Virat Rupa? Although later on he says, after seeing this universal form, which I have never seen before, I am gladdened. But at the same time, my mind is disturbed with fear. Please therefore bestow your grace upon me and reveal again your form as the personality of Godhead, O Lord of Lords, O Lord of the universes. So is Srila Prabhupada mistaken by writing out of loving ecstasy for Krishna, his friend Arjuna is offering obeisances from all sides? No, Srila Prabhupada never makes a mistake. And we can find the answer to this question in Srila Rupa Goswami's Nectar of Devotion. In the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami explains different types of bhavas or ecstasies. And he explains 33 vyabhichari bhavas. And he said one or two of those bhavas are apprehension and confusion. And he writes how in apprehension there is fear. So Rupa Goswami is saying there is a bhava, vibhavichari bhav, in which there is apprehension and fear. But this is not the normal type of fear that the living entity has. This is some form of ecstatic fear. So this is what Arjuna is experiencing. But Arjuna's predominant mood is real bhav, is the mood in Sakya Ras, the mood of affection, which was being covered by this fear. And Srila Prabhupada has commented very interestingly on this verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 10, text 139. Srila Prabhupada writes, Lord Krishna's mercy is dependent only on affection. Being obliged only by affection, Lord Krishna acts very independently. And Srila Prabhupada's purport is very interesting, and I'll read part of it. Srila Prabhupada writes, Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is merciful. But his mercy does not depend on mundane rules and regulations. He is dependent only on affection and nothing else. Service to Lord Krishna can be rendered in two ways. One can serve the Lord in affection or in veneration. When service is rendered in affection, it is the Lord's special mercy. When service is rendered in veneration, it is doubtful whether Krishna's mercy is actually involved. If Krishna's mercy is there, he is not dependent on any prescribed caste or creed. And Prabhupada goes on to explain further, and it is a deep topic, but the point being made is that service in affection is more pleasing to the Lord than service in veneration. So therefore, although Arjuna was experiencing some ecstasy in veneration, he wanted to feel the service in affection, because that service in affection is more pleasing to the Lord, and it's also more pleasing to the devotee. And Prabhupada writes, or Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes, the spiritual master is our ever well-wisher. Therefore, it is not simply to serve with awe and reverence from a distance. Instead, we must serve him with firm conviction and love. Then only will we attain perfection. The spiritual master is more important to us than Lord Krishna. And lastly, there's one story. Once Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was asked among the devotees, his disciples. He said, you have many devotees in the ashram who have accepted your shelter. And all of them are rendering different kinds of services, both day and night. But whose service do you consider to be the topmost? And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati gave a most wonderful answer. He replied with a very simple and profound way. He said, the greatness of a person's service to the Vaishnava is directly proportionate to the amount of love and affection he has developed in his heart for those Vaishnavas. The greater the affection, the greater the service. This is something I always try to remember. The greater the affection, the greater the service. We can serve mechanically, or we can serve with affection. We could serve with awe and veneration, or we could serve with affection. The most pleasing service is the service which is done with affection. And this affection actually is naturally within our heart, as explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Nityasida Krishna Preme Sajya Kabunaya Shravanadi Sudacheta Karaya Udaya. Pure love for Krishna is eternally established in the hearts of the living entities. That affection for Krishna is already there. It is not something to be gained from another source. When the heart is purified by hearing and chanting, this love naturally awakens. So by the process of Krishna consciousness, that affection which is already there will awaken. So I rushed a bit through those important points, and I've gone a bit over time. So I'll stop here, and I'll take any questions, comments, or reflections that you may have. I know I covered a lot, and it's very deep meanings, and lots of instructive words from Arjuna. So if you'd like to share your realizations, your reflections, or comments, please do so.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Prabhu. I have a question. How much is actually the Paratma in the soul of a person? So how much is goodwill, or free will, and how much is it that's Krishna's guiding us? Do we know, like, is there a percentage or a...
Srila Prabhupada actually said something quite profound. He said the only free will we have is to either serve Krishna or serve Maya. Yeah? The rest is we are almost acting out of, we're acting out of the influence of the false ego, out of the results of our karmic activity. So in one sense, the only free will we really have is either to serve Krishna or to serve Maya. That's what Srila Prabhupada has said. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Vrindavan, Chandra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Palika Mataji.
A wonderful class. I really thoroughly enjoyed the way you are expressing that, how we can, like Arjuna, when he was so much bewildered, but still Krishna sort of, how Krishna has sort of manifested the prayer within Arjuna so that he could be so connected with Krishna through the prayer. And that's what, this is through this picture and the way you have explained the whole verse. It is just so wonderful. It really gives, I felt that, when we can't say anything, what all we can do, just pray. That's the way I could get connected to Krishna. Nothing else, no words, no action, nothing. So it's just so wonderful. I just said, that actually connected me, when Dhruva Maharaj saw Krishna, and he was just so overwhelmed. He couldn't say anything. He wanted to say so many prayers. His heart was just so much, towards Krishna. But Krishna as Narayan form, he had to just touch his, the conch shell in his forehead. That's when all the prayer started coming out of Dhruva Maharaj, and he was feeling so much gratitude, or even beyond gratitude, how much he was feeling. So through this whole lesson, you have really, I'm feeling like the way you have, it really brings the joy, and all we can do just pray and be humble and just bow down, nothing else. So I felt really connected. It was wonderful, really wonderful class. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Palika Mataji. I was also getting the same realization when I was reading. It's so simple, Prabhupada puts it. Krishna is everything. And if you can't realize that, just bow down to Krishna. And he will, just by seeing you bow down, he will reveal himself. Such a simple formula, which Arjuna is demonstrating right in front of us here.
Yeah, yeah.
That's wonderful.
It's
Thank you for
been
your
wonderful.
realization. Yeah, thank you.
Really.
I was also thinking about Dhruva, how he was completely stumped when he saw the Lord. He didn't know what to say. But the Lord,
Yes.
being merciful to him, touched his head with a conch shell, and then Dhruva said all of those beautiful prayers.
Yeah, it's so wonderful. Really
Yeah.
wonderful.
Thank you.
You're bringing good things, in people. Just the way you explained everything, it's just very, very connecting to Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
So this overwhelming experience that Arjun is going through, would it be correct to correlate that with when Jagannath and Baldevji and Subhadra were listening to Rohini Mataji and their whole body was responding? That's where my brain connected to. Their body was just reacting to this, what they were listening to. And they were so overwhelmed, and would that be correct to think like that? Do you think
It's different types of ecstasy. So
Uh-huh.
Arjuna, when he saw the Virat Rupa, he was experiencing an ecstasy that was, how can I say, colored. It was colored by fear, some apprehension, some bewilderment, and some wonder. So that is a very special type of ecstasy. But it wasn't sitting very comfortably with Arjuna because he wanted to see the two-armed form of Krishna. So that type of color he was experiencing was not the color that he really wanted. He wanted the color or the ecstasy of Sakya Ras. So when Baladev, Subhadra, and Jagannath were listening to Mother Rohini and they felt this ecstasy and they got the form of Lord Jagannath, that was another type of ecstasy, but it was certainly a bhava, but different to what Arjuna was experiencing here.
Arjuna had a bit of fear. They didn't have fear, did they?
He had fear, apprehension, wonder. And although it was some type of ecstasy, as Srila Rupa Goswami explains in Nectar Devotion, it wasn't the ecstasy that Krishna himself felt most comfortable with, and or Arjuna.
Yes. Thank you. Wonderful class, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Any other questions, reflections?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Divya Gaurangi Mataji.
Prabhuji, I had this question that you said how our service is related to our affection to Krishna. But sometimes in this material world, we are not given service, or the service you are doing is taken away from you because it's a material world. There are a lot of people around you. They could be dominating. They could be they might be thinking they are doing good, but they are affecting your feelings, and it really hurts. Sometimes it's taken away from you. And we are taught to be humble and we should not react to such provoking situation. But how, at the end of the day, we are human being, we are not at that level. So how do we deal with such situation where you really want to serve, but it's taken away from you, and you have to keep calm and you have to remain composed, but at the end of the day, we want to serve. So how do we, because we love Krishna.
There's a different way of answering your question. One is, although it's very difficult in our condition to see everything as the will of Krishna, somehow or the other, we have to also develop that mood that Krishna wants us to serve in another way. And Srila Prabhupada tried to illustrate that point on a few times in his own life too. And he told the devotees he wanted to stay in Los Angeles and preach there and develop. But suddenly he had to go to Mumbai. And in Mumbai, to try to build the Jew project, he went through so many difficulties. And he said, at that time I was thinking, why are Rukmani Dwarkadish chasing me from here? Why do they want me to do some other service? And then Prabhupada said eventually he saw that they wanted him to build a temple for Radha Rasa Bihari. So Krishna, we have our plans and Krishna has his plans. Ultimately, either apparently good or bad, we have to try to see every event in our life as some plan of Krishna, either to purify us or to give us something else. And I have to admit, I'll be the first one to admit, that that's not always easy. It's not always easy, but that's the level we have to try to, even in these difficult situations, even if it's theoretical, to bring ourselves to. And ultimately, there's so much of service we can do. No one can take our service away from us. Even if, say, example, you're doing deity service, and the pujari tells you, from next week you're no longer dressing the Lord, or you're no longer going to be doing arti, because I like to give that service to someone else. So externally, it may seem that the service can be taken away from us, but internally, they can't. With our own bhavas, we can still dress Radha Gokulananda, we can still do the arti for them, and they will still accept it, and we can still feel the same ecstasy as if we were personally doing it to them. So yeah, if we don't try to see that, resentment may build up in our heart, and we may lose it. We may even lose enthusiasm in our spiritual life.
Yeah, that happens.
So for our own good, for the betterment of our own consciousness, we have to see it as the will of Krishna, as some plan of Krishna has for us.
Yeah, ultimately everything Krishna does for our good, right, Prabhuji?
Yes, yes. And if we think like that, Krishna will be very pleased with us. And we become very strong also. And we avoid falling into the trap of being resentful to any other Vaishnava.
Yes.
Yeah, but we can also express ourselves. We can say, Prabhu, I really lose my enthusiasm, or I feel discouraged when you take that service away. It'll really be good for my spiritual life if you carry on giving me that service. But beyond that, what can we do? What can we do?
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. After listening to you, there is so much peace in my mind, and I'm really happy. It's helping to change my mood. Thank you so much. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna. Thank you for your question.
Hare Krishna.
Anyone else has any questions or reflections? Yes, Mataji, Krish. Who is it?
Sorry, no.
Krishangi Mataji.
Krishangi Mataji, yes.
It was a lovely class, Prabhuji. Very enlightening. Learned a lot from it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for attending, Mataji. Thank you for your encouragement.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, sure.
So when you have trust, so you have a service, the affection Arjuna gave Krishna is because he trusted and had faith in him. So then the affection and the love developed. So is that the same when you do the service? If you trust somebody that gives you a service and you have faith in them, then the affection and the love develops afterwards?
What Prabhupada said in this purport is very interesting. He says affection comes from the mercy of Krishna. So when Krishna sees we are serving him with surrender and with attention, Krishna being pleased with us, he'll give us his mercy, and then that affection will come. That's what I understood from Srila Prabhupada's purport. That affection, Prabhupada says, we can serve in two ways, with affection or with veneration. When someone is serving with affection, we can understand that that person has received Krishna's mercy. So one may ask the question then, is it circular? Is it circular? So what really sparks off Krishna's mercy? And Prabhupada explained that there are few things that precipitates Krishna's mercy. One is serving in the right mood. Serving in the right mood, and serving with whatever love we have. That love may be, there's two types of love. One is not spontaneous. We do it because we know it'll please Krishna. And the other one, it'll be spontaneous. So first we serve according to Vaidhi Bhakti, to the regulative principles. And through serving, Prabhupada gave the example of a young married girl. She's married, she's never met her husband before. But she serves him out of duty. And through that service, the young married woman, just by the act of service, she develops affection and attachment for the husband. And in the same way, when the husband sees the mood of service, he starts to be affectionate towards the wife. And in this way, love develops. So Vaidhi Bhakti is like that. We may not have spontaneous love, but we do it with the right mood and with the mood of service. Then that love awakens. And at the same time, when Krishna sees that, then he bestows his mercy and further affection develops, and it just grows like that. That is the process that's described in the Nectar of Devotion. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vrindavan, Chandra Prabhu, just a little bit. I had the experience, when I serve Mahaprasad or any prasad, it's so much joy Krishna gives you, and that joy is I feel that's a reciprocation from Krishna, because you feel that you're giving Mahaprasad to all the people, and you feel it's Krishna's mercy flowing, and you feel overjoyed. It's just so wonderful. But this COVID thing, you can't do all that. It's very sad. I was also seeing Dhamashamana Prabhu, who is a head cook. I was doing this service on Monday, after my breakfast cooking, and then I was doing cleaning the the silver bowl at the end when all the Mahaprasad Bhoga was cooking. And Dhamashamana has put in the pujari that that it's so black now, all the silver bowl. I feel kind of they need somebody to clean, and I was feeling, oh my God, because there is an age bar, you can't do this service for your age, and I was feeling, I said, my God, I really want to do that, because I was doing it and it was so much joy Krishna was giving, and I feel I can't do that now. I was feeling, I wish I could go and do this,
Do it in your mind, Mataji. Sorry, Hare Krishna. Do it in your mind also. Like in Nectar of Devotion, that one pujari, the Brahmin, he didn't have the ingredients to make sweet rice, so he made the sweet rice in his mind, and then he wanted to feel the sweet rice, whether it was hot or cold, and then he burnt his finger.
Yeah.
So in devotional service, there is, even in mentally, if you just sit and you imagine you're scrubbing those bowls and those pots and taking all the black out, Krishna will reciprocate and accept your mood and feelings in the same way you're doing it physically. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll do that.
All right. Okay, everyone. I'm sorry I've gone way over time. Thank you so much for your wonderful questions and reflections. I think tomorrow will be Mukunda Hari Prabhu, and I'll see you in a week's time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.